Hey guys, welcome to TST Garage. I have a TW200 here for you today. We're going to be doing a set of two very simple but important installations on this bike. What you see on this bike already is that we've gone from the OEM incandescent signals on the front and rear to aftermarket LED signals here and an integrated tail light in the rear that uses LEDs for their light source. Now, what that does to the bike electrically is it draws much less current from the electrical system for signaling, and it also does not use the same kind of routing that the OEM incandescent light bulbs are stable with from the manufacturer. Let me explain that a little bit better. On this particular bike and some other bikes that were designed back in the 80s and 90s, the manufacturers decided to use the right and left signal circuits in conjunction, one being the ground for the other when it's activated. So with LED signals, what we're seeing is that both sides, right and left, light up at the same time, and you get quad flash or you get no flash at all. There are several different symptoms on the different bikes. Whatever the symptom is on your bike, if you do not have a diode mod here in the front going into the dash installed already, and if you do not have an LED flasher relay when you do change from the OEM signals to the LEDs, you will have some kind of a problem. Now, the relay on this bike is housed right here. It's on a rubber suspension mount here. You pull it off, plug it in, and that's pretty much it. Both of these are necessary for our equipment to function properly. Like I said, if you already have some kind of aftermarket provision for this, you're gonna be all right. But we are now gonna show you the installation of these components and what they do. Let's go for diode mod first. Up here between the tank and the forks, we have this wire loom going from the aft section of the bike forward. It is protected by a boot here. When you slip off the boot downstream, you'll uncover a bunch of connectors and wires. Like to get this boot down far enough so that we expose a lot of the wire length and connectors. Makes our job a lot easier over here. We'll identify this white connector housing with 6 wires going in and out of it, and another one that is black, and it's the same shape. It's just the sex is reversed. Male is on this side, female is on the other side. As far as our hardware goes, we have a choice of this option or this option diode mod with these little tap connectors. I'll explain that a bit. In some markets, this bike exists with straight signal function in the signal lamps. That means the signal lamps do not illuminate when the bike is in running mode without signals initiated. So it's dark while running, and then you hit your signals and it blinks for that side. That's no running light. This is typical of Asia and Europe and some American bikes. The other bikes that require this option with the tap connectors, that is for the bikes that have running lights. So you can check this very easily. When you power up your bike without the signals on and your signals illuminate, that means you have a running light and you will require this solution. So when you go shopping on our website, tstindustries.com, you'll be presented with a drop-down choice. You'll just have to click the one that is for the system with the running lights. Let's do the simpler one first. This is the non-American model. You just take the appropriate diode mod harness, plug it in line, get all this stuff situated back here the same way it was before we started molesting it. I like to overlap this, get all these connections and wires back in the boot, get it shoved up there. Plenty of geometry that will capture it and keep it there. And then you power up your bike and you see if it works. And in our case, even though we have this American model here, it does work. It just produces an unwanted symptom on the dash where your indicator light for the signals just stays on all the time. No matter if you're blinking or not, it just stays on. And so if you're okay with that, and you ended up with the wrong one, you purchased the wrong one, it'll still work for you. But if you want your indicator light to actually show you what's happening, you will have to go for the other option, and I'll show you the installation of that option right now. Let's start with the wiring the way it was from the factory. So we've just uncovered this whole area, and we have the black and white connectors. The white one has to be unplugged. The black one does not. We will take our new TST Industries running light option diode mod, get it plugged through here, just like before. We'll just now have to run these wires to the brown and green wires on this side here. Let me show you. That's the male housing that fits into the female housing there. On this side, you will have dark brown and catty corner to that green. Do not put it into the chocolate color one. That is not the appropriate circuit. So let's get those out a bit. Make slack here, like so. Our tap connectors. There's a smaller diameter cap and a larger diameter cap. We're going to start by unscrewing the body from the large diameter cap. That will expose a channel to get around our wire. Once that's on there, we'll take what we just unscrewed from this portion and screw it back on. If you can make out the little detail here, there is a small piercing element that goes through the insulation of that wire and makes the connection into the actual conductor that's within the wire. You just get it down tight. Don't over tighten it. You don't want to strain the wire. And then that connection here is made. Before we connect these wires to that, we will prep the green wire. Now be patient and careful when using these connectors. They are kind of small, which helps to hide them away and tuck them away after installation, but if you have sausage fingers like mine, kind of cumbersome to deal with. So now I am going to take off the smaller diameter caps, and these are the ones that I usually have trouble keeping a grasp on. So I take them off one at a time, put them away, and then I start working with the wires. You have your threaded end, and then you have your grip end. We are going to put one of these wires through the grip end, making sure that they're not frayed. Through the grip, and slightly protruding from the threaded end. And I just grabbed a green one, so I'm going to connect that to our tap connector on the green wire. This is kind of difficult to show. I'll do my best here. I apply forward pressure on this wire while I screw that thread in, and that ensures that I capture the actual conductor coming out of that wire between the mating surfaces that are supposed to lock it down. Once this is tight, give it a little tug, make sure that it's actually in there, and then move on to the other wire. If for some reason you reverse the green and brown wires on here, that's completely okay. They go through a set of diodes into one conductor through the lamp, so the setup is kind of agnostic to the polarity here. All right, so in theory, my connection's made. I'm gonna make sure that everything's working properly. Powered up the bike. I do not have a stuck on indicator lamp. I let the signals flash, right side, left side. Everything is working as it should. The light remains off when the bike is not signaling, and it flashes with the same rate as the signals while it's signaling. So we're good here. We are going to put our connectors and wires back into this boot, or as many as we could fit in there. We've actually created a little bit of bulk here. If you worry about water penetration into your conductors, more so than the Yamaha engineers of the 80s did with all these unsealed connectors, I would say maybe use some electrical tape around all of this. I'm just gonna go with the theme that Yamaha set for us and just get it all in the boot as much as possible, and then get it shoved up right under this instrument cluster here, making sure that it's captured in there, kind of like how it came from the factory. That looks good. And now this part of the job is done. I wanted to make a quick note for all you guys out there that will be using our running mate, the module that is meant to restore running light function to single circuit signal lamps. If you are using this, you will be pushing current through the signaling system when the bike is in running mode. So in consequence, regardless of which diode mod you went with, you will result with a stuck on indicator lamp on your dash. When you turn to signaling, then it'll blink. So eventually you do get the indication that you're signaling. It's just, we can't help the way the bike is wired. With the use of our running mate, you will have the constant on except for when signaling dash light. Just a thing to note. Thanks. Relay will be next. The OEM relay location is right here. Pull up on it to clear it from its rubber mount. See the rubber mount right here? It does have a slit in it that houses this tab. The connector is very simple. Press on the lock, withdraw it. Our signal relay gets replaced in the same fashion, has the same tab, goes right in, mounts right up, and that's pretty much it. If you like the 85 cycle per minute OEM rate that we set on these when they leave our facility, that's cool. If you want to adjust it, we'll bust this cap off. The gray cap separates from the red with a snap. Withdraw it. Now you need to plug this back in and then power the bike up and make your adjustments using this potentiometer. It fits a little Phillips screwdriver. You go one way, it speeds up, you go the other, it slows down, and you vary it to your liking, making sure that you don't actually touch any of the conductors on this board to any ground. And then you would just replace it in the housing, snap it closed, get it mounted like I explained, and that's pretty much it. Now, you are moving a bunch of components here around the rear brake, the brake light switch. So I would advise that when you're done with this installation, you go check your brake light, make sure that this thing is still adjusted properly. I've had issues where we disturb this thing and then the brake light is constantly on. We don't know that, we go riding and there's no brightness change from running light to brake light. So do this right after, check this right after this installation, and then you should be good to go. Another thing I've noticed on some of these bikes, you have your exhaust pipe right here. If you don't mount this properly, it can come off and subsequently get melted on here, and it'll render it useless and also provide really bad smell. So make sure you've mounted this properly. Let's get us a final check here. I powered up the bike, turned the signals on, and I see that I have proper flash rate. Right side's working well. Left side's working well. Front and rear, we are good to go. This takes almost no time at all, provides really great results. If you've gone from your OEM incandescent light bulb setup for the signals to an LED type setup, this will be your ticket to quick plug and play recovery from being stuck with no signals to having functioning signals. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you like what you see here. Check us out at tstindustries.com. We have these products ready to go for you, along with some other cool parts for this bike and other bikes you may have in your stable. Ride safe, see you later.